everybody. So this is gonna be kind of like a study vlog sort of situation because it's about 12:15 on Thursday. My week has been very thrown off because I basically had 2 snow days at the start of the week. On Monday I did have a shift in the morning at the writing center, but everything in the afternoon was canceled. And then same with Tuesday. I only have 1 class on Tuesdays, Thursdays. That's why I'm still at home right now. And that one also had to be canceled. So yeah, my brain was just like, it is still the weekend. So I stayed up really late reading a couple of books, which I'll talk about at some point. But yeah, I got like a decent amount of stuff. I got done what I needed to get done. And same with the last couple of days, but I do have, once again, a bunch of grading to work on. I really want to finish Felix Holt. It would be cool if I could finish it on the weekend, but you know, we'll see. I actually don't know how many more sections of it we have to read, like how much volume 3 is broken up. I think it's into either 2 or 3 sections. I think we have at least 2 more classes of it next week. So we'll see. But this morning I've just been writing a letter to a girl in my Virginia Woolf seminar because we have to write 3 letters to each other over the course of the term because like Virginia Woolf wrote a lot of letters. So it's just kind of like emulating that practice. Same as kind of what we're doing with the reading journal, like how we're keeping our own journal, we're writing our own letters. We've done 1 already. This is the 2nd one. I'd gotten like some cute stationery at Bookmarked because initially I was just gonna do it on like regular paper, but then I was like, I can be a bit nicer. And Bookmarked has a really good stationery section considering like what a small store it is. Like they had lots of nice journals and paper and pens and everything, and then they had just little packets. So the one that I got came with 3 envelopes and 6 sheets of like the nice paper. So that's perfect for what I need because I need 3 letters, so works for me. But yeah, I'm going to head to campus. I have my 1 class and then I'm probably gonna go swimming afterwards. So yeah, we have our Wolf seminar today. We're talking about the hours and it should be fun. Hi guys, so I've just been swimming, if it wasn't obvious, and I've gotten back. It's almost 5 now. Yeah, I swim twice a week, but really it winds up being more like once a week. Just cause like that's when the pool time is the nicest for me after my classes, cause I just have Wolf in the afternoon. It's done like around 2:30ish, so can go like swim for a little bit, then come back because I'm done like, yes I am done. No, it's that the other days the pool times are a bit different for what's open for lane swimming, so then it's just like less lanes, so more crowded. So those days tend to work the best for me. And also, honestly, if I try to add too many days to that, I probably just won't do it. So this is enough. But ideally 2 days a week would be good. I could do that, but yeah, for something's just always coming up or people can't make it or whatever. I do tend to, I yap at the wall a lot. Possibly more than I swim, but you know, that's what swimming is about. So yeah, we had our class on the hours today. We actually are only getting 1 seminar for it because we were supposed to have like 2 classes on the hours for this week, but the one had to be canceled. So we just had the 2nd one, but I really enjoyed the book. I don't think I really talked about it too much in the last video, but it's essentially about how, so basically it's like told in kind of 3 parts. So it's following 3 different women. So we have Virginia Woolf as she's writing Mrs. Dalloway and is also like really struggling with her mental health and suicide ideation because Virginia Woolf did commit suicide and she also had attempted a few times before that, I think. So she was like living with Leonard, her husband, and then also like her sister lived nearby. They had quite a close relationship. And then the other chapter is about Laura Brown, who is like these are fictionalized characters now, Laura Brown is a housewife. I believe it's like not too long after World War II is when it's set. And she has one young son. She's just pregnant with her second child. And like she's really struggling with domestic life as well. And then the most contemporary novel, this book was written like late 90s, so it was like contemporary at the time. And it's about a woman named Clarissa, and that section is kind of the most one-to-one adaptation of Mrs. Dalloway. So like Laura Brown's section, she's reading Mrs. Dalloway, and she's like really getting kind of like obsessed and preoccupied with Wolfe, and also like with Wolfe's death. And she's kind of imagining her own death. And then Clarissa Dalloway it's each one day in each of their lives. Clarissa Dalloway, her day, she's trying to put together a party for her closest friend who she is taking care of because he's dying of AIDS, and he was like a really acclaimed poet. He's being given like a huge prize, but he kind of is losing his like mental faculties because he had been diagnosed and his disease had progressed to the point where like the treatments that they'd come up with weren't working for him, so it's kind of taking place during like the height of the AIDS crisis, but at a time where they like had figured out some treatment options. Clarissa and Richard had like been lovers in their youth, but they remained like best friends all through their life. And that definitely was my favorite part of the story. I think that their relationship was kind of the most compelling and the most moving for me. Like there's this one line that he says at the end, and he kind of goes like in and out of being lucid, and he says something about like, I don't think anyone could have been more happy than the two of us have been. And their relationship is really interesting, like because it's kind of somewhere almost like between platonic and romantic. Like she's been with her partner Sally for like 18 years, but has remained like really close with Richard, and they like just have this really like deep relationship, and she thinks about what life would have been like if they'd stayed together. And yeah, it's just that it was my favorite part of the book for sure. And something that we talked in class too is like having this book like represent that relationship was really interesting and really important, because so Virginia Woolf had written this essay called Mr. Bennett and Mr. Brown, I think, and it was essentially like her sort of worrying or questioning if the really popular male novelists of her time were interested in capturing the inner lives of women. So like the Mrs. Browns of the world, and of like kind of ordinary women. And basically her answer was like, probably not, I believe. So that's where Cunningham kind of developed Mrs. Brown. But like someone brought up in class, like almost Clarissa's story is like perhaps a better sort of like response to that Mrs. Brown idea. And it also really represents like the role and like the relationship of lesbian women to the AIDS crisis, because that is actually something that I learned. I either knew it before and then forgot, or I learned it for the first time in my queerness and detective fiction seminar. But during the AIDS crisis, like lesbian and sapphic women were really stepped into caretaking roles for gay men. And that's actually why the L comes first in LGBTQ. It's sort of like an homage or like expression of gratitude to the work that lesbian women did to like provide care and help and support to gay men during that time, which I think is like really incredible and really moving. So seeing that in the novel, and the kind of like, Clarissa and Richard's relationship is like complicated and a bit fraught at times, but also like very steadfast and very deep. And so yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the novel, and I think I'm gonna try to watch the movie this weekend potentially. Like, so I'm curious how they kind of represent their relationship on screen. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that for sure. But this evening I need to upload the the photos of my letter to the submission box because I didn't do that this morning. And then I also need to read like 80 pages of Felix Holt for our class tomorrow. So that's what I'll be doing. It's so nice out today. I was like, it would be nice to take a walk down to the ocean or something, but I don't think it's probably gonna happen today. So I'm hoping that the weather holds up and I could maybe do that this weekend. Also, the lighting is probably not the best for this right now, but I don't think that I showed this here. I got some pillow covers for my couch. So yeah, it looks very like blue right now just because the sun's going down. But my apartment already had like 4 pillows with removable covers. So, and they were like black and white and everything. So thought, oh, we could just like swap out the covers and give it, you know, a little more Cassidy flair. So I got 2 different kinds. I got these like fluffy ones, and then these are like velvet ruffles. These would probably look a bit better if it was like the cover was a touch smaller, because generally you want to get the covers like an inch or half an inch smaller than the insert for like maximum fullness or fluffiness, I've learned. And then I did just buy this one because look at how cute and adorable it is. I had to. And I love it. This one, I thought, okay, this is gonna go, it could go really bad or it could go really well. Cause it's one of those things that like you see online, you're like, is it actually gonna look good in person? I don't know. But it does look good in person. I love it. And I think it looks really cute over the swan blanket that I got at Winners. So yeah, these had like just arrived, so I was able to put them on. These velvet pillows actually looked more like purple online than they look in person. They're kind of like a purpley red kind of color, but I really like it. I think either way would have been fine, but I do really like this because it kind of like, I think ties in with the pink. I think the pink against like a deep purple would have looked good, but I think against the pink, like the colors all work together still. So yeah, I do love them. Also, I've decided to say screw it, and I am gonna go out for a little walk. So I was not able to finish the next section of Felix Holt last night. I was like feeling very restless for whatever reason. Like I couldn't sit still. And then even when I tried to go to bed, once I was asleep, I was good, but it took me a while to fall asleep. But yeah, so I have a bit of time before my shift at the writing center this morning, so I think I'll be able to finish it. Or if not, I do also have like an hour or so between my shift and then the class, so I will definitely be able to finish it before the actual class time, ideally. It would not be so last minute, but what are you gonna do? Also, I'm not doing prompts or presenting or anything on it today, so it's fine. But yeah, today's Friday, so I just have tutoring, and then I have one class today. And there was going to be like a reading and a Q&A with an author this afternoon, but I haven't read the book and don't really know anything about it, so I don't think I'm going to go probably. But yeah, and then tonight, actually, I'm really randomly going to like a gala. It's just like, I don't even know who's putting it on. It's just this kind of random thing that is open to all Dalhousie students. And a bunch of us decided to go. Like, it was $10. It comes with, like, with your ticket, you get drinks and food, excuse to dress up. So it should be fun. And I'm like, little kind of mini throwback to Oxford, because at Oxford, right, you have like, you can like have a formal kind of thing multiple times a week if you so choose. So yeah, kind of nice to get to like dress up and go do something like that. Again, I'm curious what the vibe is gonna be like what's out there and what there is to do. But yeah, we'll see. It should be fun. It's at like a hotel, so it seems like legitimately kind of fancy. guys, so I'm back home now. I've been home for a couple hours now and I've done nothing. It's been amazing. Yeah, I also did not finish that section of George Eliot, but I was not the only one. And honestly, I have been enjoying Felix Holt. Like I said, I don't know if I said it in this video as well. I know I said it in the last one. Like, it is growing on me, that book. I think that George Eliot she's just not my gal, you know, her writing style. Like, I think that all of her books should be about like a third shorter than they are. I think that she kind of tends to run bits or conversations or plot lines like to the point where they're not working anymore. Like in Mill on the Floss, there were these scenes that were supposed to be kind of like funny and comical, and they were, and then she just like kept doing them too long to the point where it wasn't like funny anymore, or you're like, okay, let's go. Like, there's this scene where, oh God, what's his name? The young boy who's like a Pac-Man, and he basically like sells stuff, and he becomes good friends with Tom and Maggie. Oh my God, what is his name? That's crazy. It's immediately flew out of my brain. But he's kind of like hustling their Aunt Glegg, who sucks. And it's funny, like the way that he's manipulating her at first, but then she just drags out the scene over pages and pages because he's basically being like, my stuff is not good enough for such a fine lady as you. And then she's like, let me look at it. I'll pay you this. And he's like, no. This isn't good enough for you, but I can get like this much from a lady who's not as, you know, nice and fancy and whatever. And yeah, he's like hustling her. He's like clearly able to read her and then is able to manipulate her a little bit. And it's funny. It's supposed to be kind of like a funny moment, and also showing like a bit of who both of those characters are, and like how he's shrewd in a way and how she is kind of like blinded by her own pride in a way, I guess. But yeah, the scene just goes over like 5 pages and it does not need to. So it's just like no longer funny, and you're like, I understand. I get the point. And that is just kind of like all of her books. Like with Felix Holt, the thing that I have been enjoying the most is the marriage plot and like the Esther-Felix relationship. But there's not enough like substance there, honestly, for like a 600-page book. I mean, not that there's not a lot of substance. Those are like interesting, nuanced characters, and they're the only ones who really go through any change over the course of the novel. Like everyone else is pretty rooted in who they are. You learn more about them. Like maybe they're not who they at first appear, but most characters in that book don't undergo much of a transformation. Maybe some of them do like a little bit. Like Mrs. Transome, her life changes a lot once her son comes back, but like who she is doesn't really fundamentally change too much over the course of the book. Versus like Esther and Felix, who do grow. So in that way, they are interesting and are kind of like sustaining the plot, but we are at the point where I'm like, do we need a whole nother volume? Yeah, I don't know. She's probably not like my favorite Victorian writer, I would say. I think that like the premises of the novels have been interesting enough that I've like mostly enjoyed them, but yeah, they all just feel like, okay, this is a bit much. Which, to be fair, is very true of a lot of Victorian prose. So it's not just George Eliot. But then, you know, since I'm here, I thought I'd just show a couple of other books that I got. So I have Hamnet and Judith because Maggie, one of the other PhD students, like put in the chat like if anybody wanted this, and I was like, I do. Because she had recently watched the movie and she didn't love it all that much, so she was like, I'm probably not gonna read the book. I also haven't seen the movie, but I have been wanting to read the book. Megan read it and enjoyed it. Yeah, we talked about it. I feel like she said that she did read it or was going to read it. I'm pretty sure she read it and liked it. I don't believe she's seen the movie yet though. I do find it interesting that they just called the movie Hamnet. and just cut out the and Judith. Suspicious. But yeah, I am excited to read this at some point, someday. I will get to it. And then the other book that I just checked out from the library kind of randomly, it's called Girl on Girl, and then I believe the subtitle, which they don't show, actually it'll be on here. Yeah, it's called Girl on Girl, How Pop Culture Turned a Generation of Women Against Themselves by Sophie Gilbert. So I had heard of this book a while ago and had been wanting to read it. And then I actually, it was like Megan also had heard of it and decided and read it. So we were chatting about it a little bit. So I looked it up to see if the Dalhousie Library had it, which this is stamped Dalhousie. I thought that it was coming from MSVU though, because like with an interlibrary loan, but essentially this is like an academic book, or it's nonfiction. There's 10 chapters, and it's basically about like the 90s, early 2000s, and the kind of commodification and sexualization of women's bodies, and how sort of like the changing pop culture landscape and the internet really like changed the way women are portrayed in media and the way that women kind of like view themselves, and the kind of sort of tension and lines between like sexual empowerment movements and capitalism and commodification of women's sexualities. So like a very contemporary example I think would be like the Sophia Carpenter. The Sabrina Carpenter Man's Best Friend album cover, I think, is a good example that would be like participating in a kind of similar conversation as what's discussed in this book. And just that idea of like, well, what does this actually represent? And like, what is this really communicating? Like, is this empowering, or is this just reinforcing already existing power dynamics? Like, regardless of what this is saying about your own sexuality, like, what does this mean outside of that? And how do those power dynamics get translated into like the real world? Yeah, is there something like funny and satirical about Sabrina Carpenter just like looking beautiful with a guy holding her hair? Or is it just designed to kind of titillate and sell music? And I feel like that's kind of what it did. I like Sabrina Carpenter's music, by the way, but like, I don't know how I feel about the album cover. I wasn't like, you know, personally like offended or upset by it or anything, but I do think that the way that it was done was also very dated, like, and it felt more kind of early mid 2000s, I guess. Even just like the styling, I think if they'd styled it differently, or if the lighting was different, like if it was kind of done in a like campier way, then I think that the whole like, oh, it's satirical, it's supposed to be funny, cheeky, then that works better. Or I've seen people be like, if the guy was like in a dog suit and was holding, you know, like something like that. Like, I think that there's a way that it could have been done where it was smarter. But anyway, again, I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to really look into this, because it probably won't have anything to do with either of my final papers that I'm writing this term. But it is a topic that I'm really interested in, so I'll maybe just be able to kind of like plug away at certain chapters or certain essays at some point, because yeah, I do think it's really interesting. And it's also something else that's kind of talking about is how like the porn industry has impacted mainstream pop culture in kind of like interesting and scary ways. But yeah, I have those. But then other than Felix Holt, the next thing that I need to be reading is 3 Parties by, I haven't heard this name pronounced out loud, so I think it's Ziad Sadi. That's probably incorrect, but this is the next book for our Virginia Woolf class. But yeah, I think that this book is like, the basic premise is that a Palestinian refugee is planning a party to come out as gay to his friends and family, but they're kind of like thwarting his every attempt to have like a big, you know, personally self-fulfilling moment. I haven't started it yet. I'm planning on reading it over the weekend, hopefully. But yeah, one of the students in that class is also like leading the seminar on this, so she's read it, the professor has read it, and they both said that it was weird. So So we'll see. I think it's also maybe not a super direct Mrs. Dalloway adaptation, but I think it's on the list because it's kind of like a similar idea. I don't even know if it like is intentionally trying to be or is considering itself like a Mrs. Dalloway adaptation, or if it's just the fact that like it's taking place over, I believe it's taking place over a single day. Oh no, it does say, I should like read this before I start yapping. It does call it like a tragicomic modern reimagining of Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. I just thought that it wasn't because of prefacing the other day that it's not a super like direct adaptation, which I think is maybe because like some of the characters don't very clearly represent certain characters in Mrs. Dalloway, potentially, but it is like, you know, it's the party planning, it's over a single day, it's like all of these things kind of interacting. So I am really excited to read this. This is one of the books that I was most excited about reading that was on the syllabus. So yeah, I am looking forward to it. And you know, after Felix Holt, it's got the nice big print, those Penguin Classics. But yeah, now I might, you know, do I even have like the proper amount of time to get anything like actually productive done before I have to start getting ready for the gala thing tonight? Probably not, we'll see. But yeah. Okay, ta-da! That's what I'm wearing. There's no good lighting in here at night. So yeah, I'm all ready to go. I'm probably gonna, you know, keep it classy and take the bus there. And hopefully the bus will still be running when I want to come home, because I'm not gonna take a change of shoes. I was going to, but I decided I can't be bothered carrying them around. So I'm just going to suffer. Hello again, it's Sunday morning now. The banquet last night was actually really fun. We were definitely the only graduate students there, which was fine. They had it set up, it was in this like fancy schmancy hotel, and they had like an area with a bar and a photo booth, and then kind of over on the other side there was like a bunch of tables, a little like buffet set up that they were refilling all night, and then they also had like a dance floor and a DJ. But it was like really good value for your ticket, because the ticket cost 10 bucks. And I didn't think anything of it when I bought the ticket, because they had like, you selected if you were over 19 or if you were under 19, but the cost of the ticket was the same. So I was just like, it's just for numbers for wristbands, like, and then it'll be like a cash bar or whatever. But actually if you're over 19, they gave you a free drink ticket. So you got one free drink, which otherwise the drinks were $7 after that, I think. And then yeah, the bar or the food, like open all night. They had a lot of food and it was all really good. Like the dessert bar especially was insane. So we were all like, this is just great to come and get like really cheap dinner because the food is all really, really good. And yeah, you get one free drink. So like, that's basically your ticket, plus the food and everything. So yeah, it was really fun, actually. But then today, I think me and potentially Maggie and Isabella are gonna do like a paint and sip thing. Like we might go to Michael's and get some like paint by numbers things. So I said that I would bring snacks, so I need to go grocery shopping. I'm planning on doing like a little kind of just like cheese and meat and crackers thing, whatever, bring that. And then I also want to reattempt black bottom cupcakes this morning. So I think all I need to buy is cream cheese. But I also need groceries for regular food. So gonna go to the grocery store this morning and then also reattempt the cupcakes because it did not go well last time. Okay, so I'm back from the store where I spent approximately $1 billion. To be fair, I just happened to have run out of a lot of things at the same time, like cleaning products and stuff, so I had to get that. And then I also got stuff for this like scoopable salad recipe that I saw, and I have most of like the dressing and like seasoning stuff, but I had to buy the produce, so that's why. And then I bought a couple things. That wasn't even like that bad, but it was like, you know, I bought like the cured meats and the boursin. I bought just like a few things that were like slightly more expensive today. So, plus all of the many sprays. All right, so this is Black Bottom Cupcakes, take 2. Okay, so this batter looks very different from the last time I made it, so I think we're already doing a lot better because, yeah, I think maybe last time I must have like skipped an ingredient or something because it was so thick last time, and then I tried to thin it out, and then the muffins were just like, the base was just rocks. So I think this is gonna be much better. Once again, my cupcakes turned out terrible. I don't know what happened this time. Like I said, the batter looked completely different. So I think the first time I definitely screwed up the batter. I don't know if I'd like missed an ingredient or something, but this time around, I definitely put everything in it. So I don't know. I was texting my mom and my sister, who obviously have like both made these, and my sister did use the same kind of oil that I used and it was fine. So I don't think it was the oil. I don't know if it was like the oil and the amount of time baking. I think that was maybe where it went wrong. Because again, the top, the cream cheese part's fine. But the chocolate bottom, once again, very like, it didn't like rise. It's very dense and like gluey. So I didn't take it last night when we were doing paint night. I just took like, I had some like deli meats and chips and cheese and stuff. So I just took that. But yeah, we did our paint night and it was really fun. It was very complicated. I accidentally got one. We all got paint by numbers that were like the same size, but then at the end of the night, I was like, mine has no big sections. It's all little itty bitty ones. And then we were like, oh, well, the boxes say how many sections they have. They both got ones that were like 330 and I got one that was 430. So that was my bad. It's supposed to look like a Degas ballerina. So we left it at Isabella's to dry, and we'll have to do another paint night sometime to finish them because none of us finished. I meant to get a clip of it like where I got to, but I did not remember. But yeah, it was a really fun night. We wound up watching, because Isabella has like a VCR, so she's been, you know, like hunting down old VCR tapes. So we watched Peter Pan and the animated version of Charlotte's Web, which was fun because they had both only seen the live action and I'd only seen the animated one. So yeah, that was fun. All I really remembered from it was Templeton's song. So yeah, it was cute. He's the best part of the movie. But yeah, my cupcakes were a fail, but today I made one of these like scoopable salad recipes off of TikTok. I think that her name's Mariana Moore, and she does a lot of those like, here's how to make salads that don't taste like shit. So I did this one. The only ingredient I think that I'm missing is she put fire roasted corn in hers, and I didn't do that because I couldn't find it. And I know that I could have put in just like regular corn, but I was like, it'll be fine. So I skipped the corn, and then instead of a shallot, I did a red onion because I had a red onion and I like red onion and thought it would taste good and be fine. So it's got cucumber, bell pepper, black beans, red onion, and then feta, and then like chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, mayo, and lime juice. And then I haven't added avocado, but she said like as you eat it, you can add avocado, obviously, so it like doesn't go brown. And I just tried it with like a tortilla chip, and it is good. Like definitely a better way to eat a salad, I think. It does still like, I'm not the biggest fan of cucumber, which I know you're like, why would you make a cucumber salad then? That's fair enough. But I don't like hate cucumber so bad that like I wouldn't eat it. Like in this form, I probably wouldn't just eat like a cucumber, because I actually feel everyone says like, oh, they're pretty mild flavor. And I guess like the flavor itself is mild, but I find that it has a lot of it. Like it's a strong flavor that comes through. So I think once you add the avocado too, it'll be less like cucumbery, and it definitely like, I just tried it as soon as I finished it. So as it like marinates in it, I think it'll all kind of like meld together, but I do like it. So I'll probably like take this for lunches and stuff this week. But yeah, mine's also smaller than hers. I like actually scaled it down a little bit this time, and I did get an avocado. I just didn't want to cut it up right now for this, since I'm not gonna like eat a ton right now, but I'll probably have some with dinner tonight. So yeah, I feel like that's successful. Make myself eat some vegetables. That can't be a bad thing. Yeah, and I feel like I tell myself that I don't like beans, but really it's just like green beans and like yellow bean, like string kind of beans that I don't like. I like black beans. I think it's kidney beans I like in chili and stuff. And then are pinto beans the ones that look kind of white? Cause I feel like they taste fine, but they just look so disgusting to me because they kind of look like, they give maggots a little bit. So I can't really get past the appearance of them, but I actually like most kinds of beans. It's just like green and yellow and that kind that I don't really like. So yeah, I like the black beans in this. And yeah, so check out her big ass salads, I guess. Also, she actually posts on Book Talk too, I realized, because she looked so familiar when I was like seeing her recipe stuff. And then after, since I'd like liked a few of them, then her Book Talk account started getting like recommended on my FYP again. So she also makes book stuff, and I think that she mostly reads like dark romance, like she loves a mafia romance is I think kind of her vibe. But yeah, she's cool, and this is like a pretty good recipe, and yeah, eat it with like tortilla chips or crackers or something. So yeah. Okay, so it is the next day now, and I'm just getting ready to head out to class today. So this week we're finishing up Felix Holt. There will be a group presentation on it, not mine, but I'm also going to be getting organized with my group for George Eliot. We're presenting on Silas Marner, which is the shortest book, but we're also doing it in conjunction with other like scenes from clerical life. So almost jumping like all the way back to the beginning of term to talk about Janet's repentance again. So we'll have to like figure out how we're gonna do that as a group this week is probably when we're gonna like start meeting and everything. And then in Wolf, we're doing 3 parties, and yeah, that's pretty much it. What's on the docket for this week? The weather has gotten like a bit colder again, but still like decently okay. So hopefully that holds up. See if we get any more snow days again, I guess. But yeah, so I'm going to end the vlog here. Thank you for watching, and catch you in the next one.